Yo, what's going on guys? HyperX here. Welcome back to another Monster Hunter video, and today I want to talk about the 4 missing weapons in Monster Hunter. And by that I don't mean weapon archetypes that we'd like to see that have yet to be explored, although that would be a cool video, so if you'd like to see that, sound that down below. But what I actually mean are 4 weapons that have been in other Monster Hunter games, namely Frontier or Explore, apart from one of these, meaning for most of us, unless you played the mobile game or played Frontier, you likely have never touched these weapons. Some of them you may have heard of, some may not, so today we're going to talk about 4 of them. So if you do enjoy this, then a like would be super appreciated, and if you have used any of these weapons before, then let us know your experience with them in the comments down below. I for one haven't used 3 of these, so this was an interesting thing for me to research as well. So first up we have probably the most well-known missing weapon, and that is the Tonfer. The Tonfer is a weapon introduced in Monster Hunter Frontier G Genuine. It is an impact type weapon. The more attacks the hunter makes with the weapon, the more it charges up in power, and it also has the ability to guard and dash freely. And if you've seen in the gameplay of this thing in action, then it's all about acrobatics. This thing is just a sight to behold, especially when being used by an experienced hunter. The Tonfer is made up of 2 light, swift poles with a propulsion system. This allows the hunter to strike monsters multiple times in short periods. But because of the lightweight and the propulsion system, hunters can also easily evade while the weapon is drawn and even propel themselves from the ground. The propulsion system also enables the hunter to perform a finishing move called the Dragon Spirit Piercing Attack, where the poles of the Tonfers are quickly jabbed at the monster with tremendous force. And by performing this move on a monster when parts of the monster have been sufficiently weakened, it will also trigger explosions on the monster where it has been weakened. Similar to the longsword, the Tonfer also has a gauge that fills up when attacking monsters in order to gain an attack boost, and this bar has 5 levels of boosts and a timer. When striking a monster, the semicircular timer to the left of the bar will fill up with several seconds and begin dropping while the bar level fills. Every time the Tonfer strikes a monster, the timer refills and the boost bar increases, but all attack boosts will be lost if the timer runs out. The Tonfer itself has 2 different modes, long mode and short mode, but each mode shares the basic attack moves, KO damage on head strikes, finisher and pole launch, while still having unique moves and abilities. So it is definitely a very awesome weapon, looks incredible in action, and the fast-paced nature, the acrobatics, the aerial ability just makes it truly unique. However, moving on from there to the second weapon in our list, we have the Accel Axe. For this, we're taking a trip over to the mobile game Monster Hunter Explore. The Accel Axe, also known as the Explosive Speed Axe, is a weapon first introduced in Monster Hunter Explore. The word Accel is a sort of Japanese-made English word. It's an abbreviation of the word accelerator. The weapon was designed to optimize the experience for Monster Hunter Explorer's fast-paced nature. The left grip is the main weapon, and the right grip is auxiliary for unsheathing and maintaining the weapon position. The main grip lever is for gas compression, resulting in internal combustion, providing the propulsion burst for dynamic actions. The auxiliary grip lever, once cranked, will open up the hatch and expose the heating fins that heat up the axe for the finisher burst slash. The axe blade is designed for heavy slashes. Kind of like the Switch Axe and Charge Blade, Accel Axe also has a file for energy storage. The energy meter is named the Accel Gauge, which it then charges up when using non-propelled attacks. But it is worth noting most of the moveset requires the gauge to perform. This, of course, is an incredibly awesome looking weapon. Again, I'm a big fan of sort of morphing or weapons that have unique sort of design properties to them. And while admittedly this is the one that sort of had the least exposure to, because of course it was tied to Monster Hunter Explore, the mobile game, and you don't necessarily have the complete freedom that you would have in a regular Monster Hunter game, it definitely is a very visually awesome weapon. Moving on from there, we then have weapon number 3, and one that I would really have loved to have tried, the Magnet Spike. The Magnet Spike is a weapon first introduced in Monster Hunter Frontier Z Zenith. This weapon is a heavy melee type weapon with the ability to switch between 2 different weapon modes, a slashing mode and an impact mode. The key aspect of this weapon is its magnetism abilities. This comes from the large red and blue files located inside the weapon. Naturally, being a large, heavy weapon, it would be difficult to even handle or use in combat, but by manipulating the magnetic force in the weapon, most of the weight is lifted. It becomes possible to move so fast that it would otherwise be deemed unnatural. Resembling the magnetic abilities of Ruko Diora, the Magnet Spike can actually retreat and close distances rapidly with attraction and repulsion forces, using well-timed evades for counterattacks and guard points to create greater openings. Unlike other form-changing weapons, like the Switch Axe and the Charge Blade, the Magnet Spike can use most of its moveset in either form at any time, allowing the user to use whichever form they deem more useful at the chosen time. The user will be equipped with a magnetic field gun, which can be used to fire a small magnetic sphere that sticks to the monsters, allowing the user to pinpoint a specific location to lock onto and use magnetic attraction to travel for a much greater distance, or even use the repulsion force for long distance evades. The Magnet Spike's magnetism allowed the weapon to have high versatility and a high skill ceiling. While most actions are of course shared between both forms, some offer options that the other does not. Attacking with this weapon will slowly magnetize it, entering the magnetic boost mode, which increases the power of attacks, and landing attacks will also magnetize monsters, and once the monster is fully magnetized, it becomes possible to use the magnetic bind attack, and this binds the monster inside a strong magnetic field, with the hunter holding up the field by repeatedly pressing select buttons, and if held for long enough, the hunter can attack with a powerful finisher. Honestly, it is a ridiculously over-the-top weapon, and it's something that is definitely synonymous with Frontier. And then finally, to round things out, we have the fourth weapon, and let's be honest, the least exciting one, the medium bowgun. The medium bowgun is a new classification of bowgun introduced in Monster Hunter 3. It of course is a balance between heavy and light bowguns. In exchange for somewhat slower movement, they have better power than the light bowgun, and in exchange for a lack of a shield that some heavy bowguns have, they have the rapid fire built in, like a light bowgun. But of course it doesn't necessarily fire as many bullets, and some of them may fold, causing a setup to be required after the gun is unsheathed and when it is sheathed. This process does of course take more time than just using an unfoldable bowgun. Bowguns in Monster Hunter 3 actually consisted of 3 separate parts: the frame, the barrel and the stock, and these each carry their own weight values and can be mixed and matched, and the collective weight of the parts determines the weight category the resulting bowgun will fall in. So basically that means you can create a light, a medium or a heavy bowgun. This fact means that you can use a light bowgun part that has, say, the ammo selection that you want, while still maintaining the weight that you want, and you can even put on a shield barrel as long as it keeps you below the 71 weight. You'll still have a medium bowgun. Customization means you have free reign over your bowgun, allowing you to specifically build your gun to specialize in different situations. And this customization aspect was definitely pretty cool, but at the same time it hardly felt like a new weapon per se, hence why I said it was the least exciting. But there you have it, a little rundown on 4 of the quote-unquote missing weapons in Monster Hunter. Weapons that honestly would be fantastic to see return in future titles, or just give us some brand new weapons. But we are definitely at that point in Monster Hunter where I really do hope we see a brand new weapon in the next installment, because it's about time. Anyway, with that being said, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments down below if you guys have used any of these weapons. If you've missed some of the recent videos, be sure to check out one of these ones, and keep it locked for plenty more.